to the cloud. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that.
All right, take two. Welcome to the Simon Fairfield Public Library Board of Library Trustees meeting for May 25th, 2021. It is 4:03 and we have a quorum. I can't see because there's a thing in front of my screen that says this meeting is being recorded. So anyhow, Ellie sent out the minutes and I'm hoping that everyone had a chance to look through them. I will accept a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Motion to accept the minutes of the April meeting.
Okay, second.
Second.
Any questions, discussions, corrections?
No.
Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so moving along. How can I get that off my screen? Let me try just clicking that.
Yeah, I've got one on my screen too.
Yeah, so it's like right in the middle of where I'm trying to read what.
Well, how about let's press continue. That's
Yeah,
what I
just
do.
press the button.
Yeah,
All
that
right.
gets it away.
There, all right. Woo. High tech, all right. So we're looking at the financial report.
Okay, this is the financial report. Here's the summary of our accounts as of today. This is the time of year when, we have to start kind of, dancing with the devil because you want to get as close as you can to spending all of your operational money
Right.
without going over. We're in a good spot, I think. We've got $5,563 left to see us through the end of the year.
Mhm.
So depending on how the electrical bills and any other unforeseen expenses, I don't foresee any problems. In fact, I imagine that on June 30th or 31st, I don't know how many days are in June, I'll probably be buying some ebooks.
Right.
Nothing
We
else
should
is
put in
really
our
new.
requests now.
Yeah, if there's something you want on hold or, I've actually disabled the RTL button right now because it was just leading to a bunch of extra stuff, and I've been putting the money into the cost per circ licenses instead.
Yeah, that's good.
Because the ebook, what we were spending on ebooks was starting to kind of creep up into an uncomfortable level to me anyway. Not much else is really new.
Hey, Justin.
Mm-hmm.
I had a hard time again with this. Last month I didn't have a hard time with the chart, but this month I did. But I was going, so I had to put in everything individually, and there were a lot of zeros, like architects and engineers and public safety and postage in one place, but I think in another place there was it. So I was sort of getting confused of whether it matters or doesn't matter. I don't know, but and I should have probably looked at the headings of each, but because they seem to repeat, some of them repeat each other.
Yeah, some of them repeat because basically if it's something that we've ever spent money on, then it's going to show up in these line items.
Mm-hmm.
And so like you'll see there's line items for building and equipment repairs, office supplies, other services, and property related expenses that are all zero. They're under the special expense heading, which means that was, those would have been line items if we had been paid out of any trustee controlled accounts. The ones up in the, let's see, income, there's expenses, there's friends, other appropriations, special, personnel, and general. In general, you have those same line items, but they have, amounts because that's money that we've spent out of the operational fund. Basically, what this is a product of is me forgetting to click a button that says omit zero balances whenever I'm creating this this spreadsheet thing.
But in a way, it's good to see it so you remember how money has been spent in the past under that.
Well, it's not in the past, it's in this
So,
fiscal year, isn't it?
whatever.
Well, it would have been in previous fiscal years because at the end of every fiscal year, I carry over all of like the account trees into a new ledger. So, and it's like, if you had a page for that expenses under the previous ledger, it'll generate in the new ledger too. And it just may not get filled. So like architects and engineering is here, even though we haven't spent anything on architects and engineers in 3 years, 2-3 years. We spent some money on postage a couple years ago, and it's still there. Public safety supplies, that's whenever we built the parking lot. That line item is still there. It's just like once the line item is there, it carries over.
Right.
But if I remember to click omit zero balances, then they won't show up.
Okay. Do you feel a need to have a record of that? Because it's there anyhow if you need it, right?
Yeah, I don't. I just need to remember to click the button.
Okay. Then
I
do
also
it.
didn't know what imbalance USD and orphan USD meant.
If there was a problem in the ledger, then something would show up there. Like if there was an expense that didn't have a matching, because it's a double entry accounting system. So if like you get screwed up somehow and you have an expense without a corresponding debit in an asset account, then it would show up as an imbalance
Mm,
or an orphan. I'm not sure what exactly the difference is. I just know if those numbers aren't zero, there's a
I've
problem.
never heard of orphan. I know about imbalances, but
I don't know about either.
I never took accounting either in high school or college, but I was forced into it by managing grants for the last 20 years of my career. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
everything has to be entered twice. So like if you buy books,
Right.
you have to input a credit or a debit. I don't remember anymore, but you've got to put the money in, your circulating materials account. It's to say, that's an expense. You're adding to that line, but you also have to subtract it from,
Right.
wherever that money
Wherever
came from,
it's coming from.
operational allocation or loan or whatever.
Mm.
And so if you end up with an expense without a corresponding debit from the asset account, or if you end up with income that's not accounted for in an asset account, then you'll end up with either a positive or a negative imbalance. And I have no idea what orphan does at all.
Right.
It's just there. Any other questions about that?
I think we're good. I'm good.
Okay, so regular donations, that's a $50,000 balance, but only $4,598.58 is unreserved. The rest is reserved either for the building project, archives, because it was donated by the gentleman who came up from South Carolina and was so impressed with Rebecca's work. And more recently, we've had 200. It was more than that, but the town administrator Matt Wojcik donated some money.
That was very nice of him.
And
Very
so
nice
that
of him.
is, earmarked for those books.
Yeah, I think that tells a lot.
That 50,000 is money that's already in there, Justin, right? That's not new.
Yeah, no, it's not new.
Okay.
It's just, she
Surprise.
voted to
Hopefully.
put it
That would've been
aside
nice.
for the building project and not spend it on anything else. So like, you look at your regular donations up here and you've got a big old balance, but down here, it, some of it, not all of it is available. For library grants, we reserved $5,897 to the building project. So there's $28,000 unreserved. So that our total building project balance right now is $91,657.16, which puts us 22.91% of the way to our goal. Last month it was 22.8, so progress. And I would like to propose that the trustees vote to reserve some additional funds for the building project. $500 was donated by Goran Larrivee, and he told me to spend it however I wanted to spend it or do whatever I wanted to do with it. So, you know, I would like to entertain that we vote to reserve it for the building fund. Furthermore, if we voted to reserve $7,842.81 of additional grant money for our building project, that would be a little over half of what we received this past year. It would still leave us with $20,000 of unreserved grant money. And that would bring our capital campaign to $100,000 even,
Nice round number.
which
Wow.
would be a nice round 25% number that would kind of be fun to put on the board.
Okay. It
Does the
sounds
Gordon-
good.
Does the Gordon Larrabee money go to the interest-bearing account or to the non-interest bearing account?
No, he put it in the regular, it's just a regular donation right now. It can't be moved once it's in, but that's where it went. And then he contacted me and told me that, you know, it was for whatever I wanted to do with it. But since it was given as a regular donation, it's in that account. So it would just have to be a reservation added to this 50,000.
Okay.
So can you explain a little bit more about the using the state grant money to put into the building account?
The state grant money we get every year, and it's just there to it's there for us to augment our budget however we see fit. I mean, we can literally spend it on anything. It doesn't come with
Okay.
any stipulations or anything like
Okay,
that.
so it's not something that needs to be spent within the fiscal year.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It can accumulate. That's one of they every now and then they send out a survey for, you know, what are you using your state grant money for? And you know, saving it for, you know, major capital things is one of the options you can check.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an approved use.
Right. Yes. Oh, that's great. So does this require a vote?
Yeah.
This would require probably 2 separate votes.
Right, 2 votes. All right, let's start with the the $500 donated by Gordon Larrivee to be put to the building fund. Accept a motion for that.
Motion to move the $500 donation to the building fund.
Second.
We can't move it to the building fund. We're just reserving it for
Oh, reserving it.
the
Okay. I'm
building
sorry.
project.
Right. So, do you want to Are we good with that?
Yeah,
All right. Second.
I'll second it.
Okay. Discussion and questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All right. That carries unanimously. So moving to B, I will accept a motion to, however it is worded, to put it in reserve, Justin?
To reserve $7,842.81
Okay.
of state grant
We
money.
reserve $7,842.84 in state grant money to the building fund. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
Okay. Open it to discussion and questions.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea. I'd like to keep that available so we can use it, maybe for the door into the attic or some other project we might want to do. I mean, the building fund might not happen for 5 years. I'd like to keep it available.
Justin, how much do we have? Am I not seeing it there? How much do we have if we should have an emergency, like a door or whatever?
I think it was 28,000.
We've got 20.
Oh, that's right there, the 20,000.
Assuming we do this, the grants will go to $20,175. We've also got, this would be up in the assets. So right now there's, we've got the library grants is at 33,897, but it's 28,000 that's unreserved right now. Revolving accounts just for books, can't use that. William and Janet Carrick Fund is $1,237.34, which we can use on whatever we want. Milling donations is the building. Regular donations is the 56,802, but it's like 4,000 of that I think is unreserved. Yeah, so the total 1, 2, 3, 7, 5, 4 plus, and then it's more.
Okay, Betty. So you're saying to sit on that money in case we need it. Is that
Well, I'd like it to be available. There was discussion about cleaning out the storage in the basement and making it available for use, and that's going to take, maybe that would come out of building, I'm not sure, but I don't like restricting its use like that. We can always put it in the building later if we want to, but I don't like having it not available for what we might need.
I don't think we are making it unavailable. We're just reserving it for, we could unreserve it at another date if need be. But right now we're reserving it for the building fund.
We can unreserve it to put in a door in the attic or buy books?
I would think so. We could do anything we want with it. I don't think they're doing anything really. I think it's just sort of a way for Justin to make it an even $100,000 for.
Yeah, and maybe that sparks. I could do some more promotion around that too.
Absolutely.
Like Justin could too. It's like we're at 100,000. We're making some progress without costing the town any money.
It's a way for the trustees, to indicate support for moving the building project forward by saying we're setting this money aside for this. And I mean, like you could unreserve it and we could move the fundraising thermometer backwards. That would probably send a very bad message, but I don't see that being a real possibility. Like it would take a catastrophic. It would take something truly and unimaginably catastrophic for us to, exhaust our available funds to the point where we would have to dip into money that has been reserved already. Because even if we do this, we still have $25,511 of just, what amounts to free cash.
So we're just doing it to make it look good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a really bad idea. I don't like it at all.
Just to make it look good. It's interest bearing. 2.
No, I don't think so.
Isn't.
No, we're not moving it to another account. We're just saying it's set aside for, and I mean,
It's not going to building donations?
No, you can't move the money from one account to another once it's put in. It's just reserving something that's already in an account, saying you're setting it aside for a specific purpose.
Like having a check written, right? I don't know. I disagree with what Betty's saying because I don't think it sends a bad message. I think it sends a good message that we're invested in accessibility in the building project.
I agree.
I agree with Dawn.
I don't think it sends a bad message. I just think it's a bad decision.
Well, I think it's a lot better than spending it on books, which was bugging me in previous years. So I prefer this.
Yeah, I don't want to spend it on books either. I just want to get a nice door in the attic or something that we really need.
Well, it doesn't stop us from getting a door, right? We still have 20-something thousand.
We've still got, we'll still have over $25,000.
Yeah, more next year.
Beyond, our annual municipal and personnel appropriations that we get from the town.
Right. Yes, because as of July 1st, we start a new fiscal year.
Mm-hmm.
And you haven't got, well, we haven't gotten to that point in the meeting yet, but you don't have a set, a bid amount for the attic door right now. Do you? You
No,
have
we
to
don't.
go-
It's probably going to come in astronomically high, and we're going to need to table the project again because lumber is ridiculous.
Mm. I would like to stay on track with the, what's the discussion is on the floor right now?
Okay, yeah, with the agenda, not
Yes. Um,
talking, yeah,
so
yeah.
Can
No,
I
it's
call
fine.
the vote, or does somebody else have to call the vote?
So that would be you.
I'll call to vote. All right, I think
You may
everyone,
want to make it a roll call vote.
okay, yes, all right. I don't have the names in front of me, just,
Do you want me to read the names, Danielle? I can see them.
yeah, I,
Okay, so,
Yes.
well, I'm the first one I see, so Dawn Fontaine.
Are you
Oh,
voting?
and what?
Are you voting aye?
I'm voting for it. Aye. Now Ellie's at the top. Ellie Chesbrough.
Oh, Ellie Chesbro, aye.
Danielle Morrow.
I,
Kate.
Aye.
4767242. Can't tell the
That's me.
Betty.
No.
Next number is 7720, I think.
Yeah, that's me.
Nick.
I'm gonna abstain from this decision.
I think that's everybody.
Is
I
that
believe.
allowed?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, you can abstain.
All right, cool.
Well, the ayes have it. So,
Is that enough votes with the, is that
Yeah.
enough? for-
yeah,
Okay,
it's just a simple majority.
okay.
All right, so that will be good. We can move forward with that and maybe come up with a little kind of mini publicity campaign over it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're $100,000 of the way towards a $4,000 goal. $400,000 goal. I mean, means that 1/4 of the progress has been made, and I think
Right.
that
Yes, being
And a
positive.
pandemic.
Always being positive. Yep. All right. Are we ready to move on? Let's move on to the director's report.
Oh my God.
So April circulation was obviously better than circulation last April. Not quite as great as circulation was in 2019, but almost as good as it was in 2018.
But if you look down between at the digital loans from 2019 to 2021, I think you're looking at what, almost 400 there. It offsets it. The digital
Well, the totals, yeah,
offsets the decrease in the books. So that's
are
great.
noticeable steady. Well, it doesn't completely offset it.
Well,
Because in an ideal world, we would have close to 3,800 circs, to be on pace with sort of growth that we would expect from year to year.
okay, so what's
But we're still not open, to full capacity. The pandemic lingers.
well, I
People
don't
still
understand
linger.
that then, because what am I missing? Oh,
Looking at
all
the
right,
total use at the bottom.
videos. I'm trying to see where the, yeah.
Audio.
The video circulation has gone down. Audio
Yeah.
circulation is gone down.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Periodicals kind of bounce back and forth.
Mhm.
Digital loans go up. Books, have held steady, given circumstances.
What's funny is 2019 was gearing up to the election year. Maybe that was where people reading. I don't know.
We are 61.5% done with our reclassification project. Progress is probably going to slow down a little bit as things kind of pick up and we don't have as much time at the circ desk not helping patrons to do this kind of thing. But the materials we're dealing with are going to go faster because we're pretty much done with the juvenile collections, which is where we were doing the resorting and reclassifying.
Mm,
And adult collections are kind of the last thing we're doing, and they're kind of a one-for-one trade. Nothing's moving really to any other place. We're planning 2 story
Wait, before you
walks.
start that, did you hear about the Facebook posting by somebody?
I did, and
yes, and Justin responded,
Did he?
right? The one,
Oh, I didn't read it then.
yeah, he responded very well to it.
Oh, good.
yeah, there
Could
was
you
a
explain
patron.
that? Could you tell us what that was?
There's a patron who, we actually have a good relationship with. I've delivered to her quite a few times, but she came in to the library at some point and saw some empty shelves, and she didn't like it. So she complained about it on Facebook, saying that we really needed to up our game.
Oh.
And so, I responded saying, well, there's a,
Can I
I
find
feel
out
like our game's been pretty
today?
upped, lately, but the, we did just do a big weed throughout December and January, got rid of items which hadn't circulated in years to make room for more items because we buy $50,000 of books every year and they've got to go somewhere. And, I imagine that the shelves she was referring to are like 6 bays of empty shelves that are where DVDs were living, which we have moved into the other room because we're making it a multimedia room. And like there's books on a cart waiting to go back into that spot because we're kind of playing musical chairs with the collections to keep what we have processed separate from what we haven't processed. So, I think that, all the discussion kind of petered out. It wasn't a big kerfuffle or anything, but there was a complaint about empty shelves.
Because you handled it very diplomatically.
Well, that's my job.
You'd think.
But it's in the We Are Douglas Facebook group, and I had to actually activate a personal Facebook account again so I could go in and actually respond to it because the admins of that group won't let the library account join because it's not a person.
Yeah.
So thank that for roping me back into the evil Facebook.
I was because I know from your previous talks that you were kind of opt out of that, but so I was pleasantly surprised, let me put it that way, to see your response because that was great. That was very good. Okay. Are we
So
good?
Yeah.
Story walks, are we good with that?
Yes, I think so.
So we're planning on doing 2 summer story walks. One will be at Douglas Orchard and Farm. I've been going there on Saturdays because they sell duck eggs, and I joined their farm share. And every time I go, there are like parents with kids wandering around. It's like something they just invite people to do. And Nick could probably talk to that, but it's busy. It's a busy place. And so they have invited us to put a story walk there. And we're also going to put one on the Southern New England Trunkline Trail, beginning at the Depot Street parking lot. It's not far from the library. If you drive up past Town Hall, Depot Street kind of dead ends in it, and you can turn left, and there's a nice straight path where we can put story walks. I was planning on using metal T-posts and pressure-treated plywood to make really good, sturdy, nice looking signs that we could go out and change the stories on weekly by sticking them on with industrial strength outdoor Velcro. But the price of that much plywood right now is over $500.
Ridiculous. It's scary.
Crazy. So
it's scary.
I quickly, after having a little heart attack, decided, it might be better to do something less fancy, but I'm going to have to talk to DCR about it again because they had proved the previous design, but they haven't approved this. I don't think they'll have an issue with it though, because it's even less permanent and invasive, but of just getting blank, the corrugated plastic yard signs, 18 by 36, I think is what they are, like lawn political signs.
Right.
They're blank. Those are a lot cheaper. We can get all of the hardware that we need to put out, 2-story walks with the signs, the stands, the laminate that we would need for the books, and the industrial strength Velcro, because that way you can sort of like put some stuff on, and when it's ready to switch out, you can take the old pages off and then put on new ones, and then you've got, just an easily interchangeable story walk.
And like I said, Justin, I'm pretty experienced with story walk.
I know Deb brought up the apples one that you had made, and like
Yeah, and I'm more than
perfect,
happy to
so.
help with this, making it a little more permanent than what we were doing, flapping in the breeze.
Yep.
But, yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
just being able to put them on
But what-
corrugated plastic and stake them into the
Yeah,
ground.
really, I needed, right now in my life, I need an outlet because things are kind of going crazy right here. So that would be a diversion I would enjoy.
A
is
welcome diversion.
those.
Once we get the books in, I'll bring them by your house so you can chop them up.
All right.
Justin, what is DCR, the Department of Conservation Recreation?
Yep.
And what do they have to do with either the Douglas Orchard or the New England trunk
The
line?
trunk line is on state property, so it's
So
right.
that is the DCR manages it?
Yeah,
And
so we can't do anything like along the trunk line trail without.
Well, I said
'cause
before,
it's
and I
basically
haven't
their
done it
property.
yet.
Yeah.
This is small town stuff. One of the guys who works at the ranger station, which is our next door neighbor, I was his preschool teacher, and his mother worked for me for a brief time, and we've stayed friends over the years. And so I could walk down there and say, I could embarrass the hell out of him. Where's Tyler? Tell him Mrs. Morrow is here to talk to him. But I don't know. I know it's kind of, there's a in and out loopy-loo there of trying to get approval on that end of it. But
Well, the guy I was talking to was very friendly, optimistic, open to the idea. His name was Charles Stone III, and he's also a park and forest supervisor 3. So that's kind of
yes. I know who he is. Yeah.
But we walked it, and he had approved me putting up, between 8 and 10 of the T-post signs. He didn't want me to do any more than that. If I'm doing the yard signs, there'll probably need to be a few more, because the T-posts were made so where we could do, like 2 spreads, like 2-page spreads on top of each other.
Okay. Say you're not gonna.
And so with the yard signs, we won't be able to do that, but we could also use the back of the sign. So like go, 9 deep, and then have a sign that just says turn around and go back the other way.
Right, because there's 20, children's books are normally published in multiples of 8 because of the way their pictures are published. So you're looking at 24, probably 32 pages for most of them. And then you have to post the page that has all of the copyright and that information on it. You have to post that.
You also have to post a page, because I didn't realize this before I started researching this, but Storywalk is actually a trademarked thing.
Yes, it is.
So you have to credit like the public library in Vermont and the hiker person who came up with the idea.
I went to one of her workshops. That's how I first learned. The original person. She's very interesting. Someone you'd expect.
So when I order, we can talk about this after the meeting. I just need to know how to submit to the cultural council for paying things.
We can have that conversation afterwards,
Okay.
right? Because that's not really part of this board, but I'd be happy to talk with you afterwards so we can figure that out. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Any more questions about the story walks?
That sounds awesome.
Hope so. I'm hoping that it kind of makes up for the fact that we're not having a lot of, summer reading stuff in the library due to the pandemic things.
I just like new things, and I think latching onto this is perfect. I really do.
Yeah, I think there's so many things that can grow from story walks. It's kind of it's
Mm.
in both places of lots of stuff. We should have a story walk subcommittee.
You could be the chairman of it,
I'd
Danielle.
be happy to. I would be happy to. Yes, definitely. I would love to do that. Be the old decrepit, crazy old lady story walk person.
It'd be fun to do, like I was thinking, like if we have all the hardware out already and it's just a matter of, chopping up books, we could do some, more, like poetry walk for grown-ups or something like that too. And
Yeah,
Sure.
that's a good
Be
idea.
cool.
that might need to be on a taller sign though than a yard sign.
Yeah.
Just look through the bottom of your bifocals.
I don't have bifocals yet. My wife's about to have to though.
Well, that's from all her homeschooling, probably.
All that reading.
Read a lot.
Hmm. Okay, let's move on.
The shelving that y'all approved for purchase at the last meeting is it's not even estimated to be delivered for like another 2 months. I think it was like a 90-day manufacture period because it's made to order.
Yeah.
So there's no follow-up with that yet, and we won't get invoiced until we have it. And I'm possibly getting even more shelves, big ones. Grafton has been in a temporary location now for the last, I can't even remember how long, like years. They've been in a temporary location while their new library is being renovated. And they had a lot of shelving donated to them for their temporary location, which they are now looking to pass along. So I know that there's 7 like 84-inch high cantilever shelves that are available to grab. And I'm going to go take a look at them next week, do some measuring, and I'm hoping that they'll fit down here kind of in our basement space. Because having those on hand would be kind of a first, it would be one of the pieces of the puzzle in making, the basement an accessible public collection one day.
Yeah.
And, until then, we can use it for closed stack storage and maybe not have to put as much stuff in the attic.
Nice.
It's just, as a library, it's really nice to have shelves. And this is like the equivalent of like $3,000 or $4,000 worth of shelves that they're giving away.
Wow.
So I'm
So
hoping.
where would you put them in the basement? Where would you put them in the basement? Oh, you're here?
In there.
That's the Deb's room?
It's like the
Or
Deb's like storage closet. It's a big storage.
Yeah, it wouldn't be in the room that's for children's programming, right?
Well,
No.
I had that idea and I thought about it and I wanted to, but we can't do it.
No, I'm
There's
against
not
that.
an ingress and egress there readily available. Like the building code occupancy for that room is like 5 to 8 people. So it'll never be a programming room, but it could be stacks.
Right. Yep.
this room, the one that's off of on the side of the front side towards the credit union, right?
Yep.
Okay.
That
Yeah,
room.
because that doesn't have an outside door. Okay. That's fine.
It's a shame though, because it has the best light in the basement. It has more windows than any other room down here. Should make it my office.
Yeah. Then it's like you become even weirder as the library director who lives under the library.
Yeah.
He comes out only at special times.
It's got bricks that need repointed in there though. So right now, it's good for books and storage, but not much else.
That's a great use of space. I'm so glad you're always thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just wait for opportunities, and whenever they come, I try to grab them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it.
I can't attribute this to thinking.
Some kind of thing. All right.
And that's the end of my director's report.
All right. So let's move on to old business. Building project subcommittee.
We have $100,000.
Wow,
Oh,
where did that happen?
we also should probably I mean, I know it was sort of, like questionable how to do it. Like once you've created a committee, how do you dissolve it? But the trustees might vote to just dissolve the subcommittee now, because the only people who are not trustees, one he no longer works for the town, Bill, the town engineer, and Mike Fitzpatrick is no longer able to serve in this capacity because he's a selectman now.
Oh, yeah, good points. Is he not on the building and facilities committee?
He's not going to be for long. He
Okay.
he can't really do both things, and
Yeah.
he said, why don't at this point you just vote to dissolve the subcommittee. That was a conversation we had in the municipal center parking lot through the window of his pickup truck.
That sounds official enough.
Yep.
You still have to vote?
Small town, politics. How it works.
You would have to vote to dissolve the committee,
All right. I will
or
entertain.
the subcommittee.
Yeah.
I'll entertain a motion to dissolve the building subcommittee.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion.
So I guess the only discussion that I would want to have is it's like we're not going to stop like fundraising or having this as a goal. It's just that we obviously don't need the subcommittee if we're not actively looking at architects and plans and all that kind of stuff. And this is maybe a conversation for later, but it's something that should be part of our regular round of publicity, right? Is that where we are with fundraising along with some of the other events and fine free and all that kind of stuff.
I would really like to see all of the board members take as active a role as possible in trying to do something towards reaching our goal, whether it's talking to friends or donating things or whatever. It would be really good for I think, as an image, talking about image, to show that board members are doing certain things, whether it's contributing towards auctions or plant sales or doing publicity or whatever. I think
Agreed.
it'd be good for for us, because I mean, there's people here who've been very active in caring about the library for many, many, many years, and maybe come up with some ideas for.
I was kind of a silly question. I am assuming that most of the people, when they donate, they don't really want that publicized. They want it kind of kept quiet, right? Because the only thing I was thinking is if we're like, oh, or maybe we just leave it blinded. The library just received a $500 donation. We're now at 100,500. Whatever the number is, so that I don't know, maybe just gets people thinking a little bit more that that's a way they could donate to the town.
It depends entirely on the donor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess just keep us in the loop, Justin, if you've got someone who's okay with using their name, if that comes up. It would be good to share that sort of thing.
Okie doke.
All right, so we still have a motion on the floor.
Did it get seconded?
I thought we finished.
It was seconded.
Okay.
Are we ready to vote?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So all those in favor of dissolving the building subcommittee, please respond with aye.
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 No?
Aye.
No?
Aye.
All right. So one less thing on your plate. Yeah.
One less thing on the agenda, which I'll have
That's
to
the
remember
true
to take
reason
off.
There you
Look at
go.
the agenda.
I remember, never mind, I won't go there. All right, electrical systems.
Still waiting on Jeff Grenier to come install 2 plugs on either side of the front door. And hardwire, that says hardware, but it's supposed to say hardwire the basement emergency light so that it's not plugged into something. I'm starting to get kind of nervous because this
Yeah.
needs to be done before the end of the
There has to
fiscal
be
year. He
organized
guaranteed that he
yeah.
would be able to do it, but if I haven't heard from him, you know, before June 1st with like a good solid plan for getting this done, then I'm going to have to reach out to a different
Yeah,
electrician.
absolutely.
Also, those 2 plugs are important because I need to get computers back out at this point. And you know, one of the reasons we failed our electrical inspection was we had extension cords going around pillars to plug, you know, the computer stations into, and you know, we capped off 2 of the floor outlets because, you know, the next step was going to be to install the wall outlets, and so now we just don't have outlets there.
Yeah,
So that's kind of got to be finished.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
regarding the interior paint and plastering, what I'm hoping to do is get a quote from Jay Baker, who's done a lot of our other painting work and, you know, random, you know, stuff over the past few years, and get it closer to fall town meeting so we have a fresh quote to maybe make a fall town meeting article, of just getting the entire interior of the library
Oh, that would be awesome.
repainted,
Yeah.
plastered, you know, to fix the cracks and all that.
That's it. Great. Okay, how about the attic door?
I have nothing new to report on the attic door. Brian LaValle is really the only game in town when it comes to doing that, given his relationship with the town, how he works, the licenses he has, and, you know, his willingness to do it. He has an architect who was going to draw up schematics for it because the building inspector wanted schematics of what was going to happen before he would put his stamp of approval on it. But, you know, as an aside, one of the things that the building inspector, you know, said would be necessary for approval was that we put a smoke detector in the attic to replace the current heat detectors. Because, you know, he said, you know, the heat detectors aren't going to tell you anything unless, you know, their flames are actually licking them,
Exactly.
and then they're going to go off. So I mentioned that to Custom Alarms when they were here to do their alarm inspection, and they said that that's not accurate. They said that those will trigger if you know, and they're all over the attic. There's like, you know, 4 on one side, 4 on the other, and a whole bunch in the middle, and that sort of raised up section. And, you know, if they ever detect a temperature above, you know, a certain, you know, level, they're going to trigger, and it's far from, you know, flames licking them. They said they would not recommend putting in a smoke alarm up there because since it's up in the attic, they can't vouch for its accuracy given, you know, they only operate within a certain temperature range. And so if the attic gets too cold or if the attic gets too hot, then the smoke alarm's not going to work.
Okay.
You know, it basically, you know, the company that would install this and would make money from it said, you know, they would do it if it was necessary, but they really, really don't recommend it. They think it's kind of silly. So I forwarded that information to the building inspector and haven't heard back yet. But I mean, I think this project is kind of on the back burner again, given the price of lumber and construction, because, you know, prices are up almost 48% at this point from where they were at the beginning of the year. And even then, Brian was saying the initial $7,000 quote would have to be revised given the rising cost of materials. So, I mean, at this point, I would assume that this would be more than a $10,000 project. And thus would have to go through capital committee and all that stuff. And if I can get free shelves in the basement, then the attic becomes not as much of an issue, you know?
Right, yes.
So, I mean, I would still like to get the schematics and I would still like to wait for an accurate quote. I just don't know that it's going to be actionable when it finally happens. And it is something that I have no idea when is going to happen since, you know, his architect who's doing he has said will do the schematics is doing it pro bono.
Okay. All right, well. Time.
You have a good visit to Grafton next week then.
I really want those shelves.
Yeah.
We may have to rent a box truck or something to get them over here, but we'll cross that door when we get to it.
So I'm confused with doors. We're on the back door now, right?
Back door. The back door is a funny story because Blackstone Valley Locks and Security doesn't really have a website. They don't have an email. The ways you can communicate with them are texts, basically. But they're the people who work with Adam. They did the front door. And I had kind of given up hearing back from them and had kind of stopped caring because a couple weeks ago, the back door just kind of started working again. Well, it turns out they came and fixed it. They just did it. But they didn't give me a quote before they did it. I was expecting a quote and for them then to come fix it, then pay an invoice. But they just did it on a Friday when we weren't here. Adam let them in and they fixed the door. So it didn't magically fix itself. They fixed it. They don't have an invoice for me yet, but they said it'll be less than $500. I think I can cover it out of the operational budget. As long as our last electric bills aren't astronomical or anything like that. But if for some reason I can't, I would like to use grants or donations.
Okay, so do we need to vote?
Probably grants, because there's a lot of money there.
All right, so we need to vote. Do we need to vote on that, Justin?
I don't think you do.
All right.
I mean, you could vote to approve the expense if I end up having to do it.
I would say that's negligible.
Yeah, but will that delay you from getting it finished if we don't vote? If you're like, oh,
It's already done.
No,
No, it's
because
done.
it's
They just
finished.
did it.
Oh, of course, right.
He
it's
wants
already
to
done.
make sure he has enough money to cover the bill.
Yeah. Okay. We don't want to
And
be.
I don't guess they're in too much of a hurry because they did it like 2 weeks ago. I mean, I remember coming in and not having to like really slam the door behind me and kick it with my knee to get it to go into its frame, and it was just like, oh, this is great. It just settled back into position.
Another thing is, and that you can use is that if it comes in like this crazy invoice, which from what I'm hearing, I doubt that it will, you can say, well, this is a grant funded program and I don't have enough, I have to see how much money I have left in the budget to pay you. And so I only have this much, renegotiate. But I don't think
it's so cheap.
It
Yeah.
sounds like,
I don't know if I want to.
it sounds like people who've done work on our house. But it's great. I mean, my husband's a contractor and believe me, I know, things work on a handshake or a text message or something and they work out fine. So I wouldn't be concerned at all. I think it's fine.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about it. It's just we will still have to pay them eventually.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to have seen a quote
It'd be nice to do it
before they took it upon
30th.
themselves to do the labor, but I didn't. So
It's good to do it before June 30th to avoid, encumbrances and all that stuff. Anyhow, all right, moving on. Other grants, capital campaign.
we're at $100,000.
Yeah, that's amazing. I couldn't believe it. All right, other.
I have a question about the other, and it occurred several weeks ago where one of our friends of the library had contacted me about a $50 bill being in a jar at the convenience store, which is these jars are for the library. And so I contacted Justin and stuff, and it turned out I went down there, but didn't see any $50 bill. It's because they have two jars. One's, I guess, at the Dunkin' Donuts area, and one's at the front desk. And I only looked at the front desk, and there wasn't a $50 bill there. So then I think, Justin, you contacted them and they were going to go pick stuff up. What do they do? Do they write you a check then, or?
Yeah, they come up with a, it's done by the Rowe family. I can't remember his first name right now. Mike, Bernie? Ernie Rowe.
ROWE?
And they put these jars out a long time ago, and every now and then they come in with a money order from Unibank that goes directly to the interest-bearing building fund.
Okay.
But
But they haven't come in with any money recently. they haven't come with any money recently, or else you would have reported on that, right?
They have. They did. I don't remember.
that maybe 2 meetings ago, you mentioned it and we talked about.
Yeah, a couple of meetings ago
It was
there was one, but they have been in since the last
$600
meeting,
or
and it was a
something.
big. It was like $375
Yeah,
that went
there
into
was
the
a
interest
lot.
Wow.
fund.
Yeah.
But they don't want a lot of attention drawn to them from it. It's just something that his daughters wanted to do. They wanted to put out the jars, so
And
I
you're
called
local.
him after you called me, Ellie,
Yeah,
and told him that it was full. And when he came in to give me the money order, we chatted, and he said, he has been getting like a little bit busier just because of extenuating life circumstances. I asked him if he wanted, me to find someone else to kind of take over collecting it or doing it, someone on the Friends of the Library maybe. And he said he would get back to me. So he hasn't gotten back to me yet. So maybe he still wants to do it with his daughters. But if he does get back to me and says that he wants to be all done doing it, then I'll need to, bring it up to the Friends and see if someone wants to take over a collection. I asked him if he was going to do that, just to let me know where all they've put jars.
yeah, where are all the jars?
So that we know.
I know the convenience store in across from the fire station has one. It has two. And then the person that had contacted me initially had said, and how about downtown? And I said, I don't know. This is Saturday night, and I'm not driving around town looking for $50 bills, but it would be nice to sort of be aware. And I wasn't of how often we get the money from them. And I mean, they must have raised quite a bit so far.
Yeah, I should do the math because I need to look at the ledgers from this year and last year because they were doing it last
I
year
have a
too.
vague memory of somewhere around $600 when it was all tallied up.
When was it all tallied up?
The last time we talked about this, I want to say right after the first of the year, somewhere around there.
Okay.
I think, I'm not sure.
Here are my minutes right here. I could look at them all, but I just don't.
I would just like to say that I go to the convenience center a lot, because that's the store closest to us out here by the lake. So if it comes to that, I would be willing to collect those jars whenever needed. So
I'll reach out to him. I'll do the math and find out how much has been raised in total over the last 2 years that they've been doing it.
So, you know what? Even if you could just shoot us an email.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to know the amount. That'd be good.
Yeah, because I want to know. I'm curious. And
Yeah.
I'll email y'all, and I'll also try to get him to give us a list of places that have them,
Right.
whether they're actually really collecting or not. Because my impression from the conversation with him is that he's given these jars to a lot of places, but not every place kind of like treats them equally. Like I think he said that there's one, at a business here downtown, but you got to really look for it because they've like shoved it all the way to the side of a counter and it's behind something else. And
people who work there down
most of it comes from the family convenience store at this point because they treat our jar well.
Or they have two jars.
They have two jars, yes.
Two
And then one of the guys who works in Dunkin' Donuts is one of our really good patrons too. So he makes sure that it's nice.
Oh, all right. I'll have to look into that. Because I go there a few times a week.
Okay.
All right. So are we up to, where are we, Friends?
Or long range plan he really aced it last month. So Justin doesn't have to say anything this month on it. That's good.
Yeah. I thought about talking about the shelves and how that's
Part of it.
Yeah, that's part of it. But I figured this is maybe like an every other month thing.
Okay. Well, I'm still putting it on the agenda. It's easier to do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The Friends are having a book and plant sale this weekend from 9 to 1. If you have any plants that you'd like to bring to for the stuff, I'm trying to think. I've got a bunch.
I had a horrible experience this spring. I used some potting soil that I thought was good, and apparently it wasn't. And I don't have one seedling.
Well, then you
Wow.
can buy them at the sale. But I just,
I have some house plants, a few house plants, but I
Ellie,
don't know
someone
how house
asked
plants
today
go.
if we had any herbs. Do you happen to know?
Yeah,
if there are any?
yeah, I've got a lot of dill.
Okay.
And I think I have coriander and those are the only two I think I have right now. Fennel, I have fennel's not an herb, but you can pretend it is.
The spice. I like
Well,
fennel.
it's a bulb,
The
sort of.
seed.
Yeah, you can slice it up and put it in stuff. But so I do have a ton of dill, but I mean, it's just taking over my regular vegetable garden, but so I didn't dig it all up, but it's still there. But I have it in packages. Anyway, I'm going to bring mine down, I think, on Friday sometime and just leave them behind the library so that I haven't checked with Kristen Stevens, who's coordinating the whole plant sale bit, when or where she wants them. But and I think she's going to be on the side of the library that's towards the credit union, the front
Okay.
side over there.
Right. I have my tables. Justin, you still need my 2 tables? Are you counting those?
I forgot about your 2 tables.
Or
Yeah, I
no?
can come get your
Well,
2 tables.
way back, the original thread of the email goes way back when you were talking to the friends and I was CC'd on it. And you said that gives us enough with the 2 tables from Danielle.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about them. I'll come get them.
All
We have
right,
a ton of tables. We're going to be in good shape, I think.
Well,
I
if you
basically
don't
took
need them,
all
that's
of.
fine.
Let me see if I need them or not, because I
All
might
right,
not. I need to
okay.
get my tape measure out and look at the bins and tables.
Well, give me a call. They're outside up against the house in the driveway, but I just wanted to put my name on them in permanent marker before you take them. So I get back the same tables that I.
Yeah, we basically got all of the senior center tables because they're
Yeah,
actually
that's what I
getting
thought,
like
and I thought,
recarpeted
well,
and
I don't need
asbestos
mine.
removal right now. So they just gave them to us a while back and we have to take them back in a couple weeks.
Yeah, all right. Just let me know, all right?
Okay, will do. I will when I email you about cultural council stuff.
Yes, we can talk about that on the phone sometime.
Also, I had was talking, I think on a same link on the Friends going back and forth stuff about, and Justin you were saying you were going to go check all the local book donation bins around. And I said I'd be willing to call the school if I could find a contact person, and nobody got back to me with that. So I did send them an email about a week ago and I haven't heard anything back. I sent an email.
I called the company directly that does the book drop.
Yeah.
It's like Discover Books or something like that, because the PTO, the lady on the PTO who originally put out the bins had like a book bin and like clothes and shoes bin.
Right.
They moved the clothes and shoes bins to another place, but there's a book bin there now, but she has no idea who manages it. So I went there, and rather than try to communicate through the school administration, I just, used the QR code that's on the bin itself to get in touch with the company and let them know that their bin was full, because it is full. There's one that's not full, that's in front of the transmission place between here and Uxbridge. So I'll check that one like Thursday or Friday, and then check the school one too to see if it's also empty.
Yeah, because I prefer to use the school one since they get the money for it. That is a nicer experience for me, but that's too bad we don't know who it is. Okay, and then there was, we're starting talking about trustees hustling up donations, stuff like that. We are starting planning our auction which will be start at this kicking off is October 3rd or 2nd or whatever day Oktoberfest is, and lasting about 2 weeks, we think. I think there's some debate there. I'm in favor of 2 weeks. Other people are in favor of longer, but I think it gets old after 2 weeks. So that we're going to be, soliciting for donations, and so if you know of anybody that hasn't given or is in a business or whatever, that would be helpful for us. I just got one of my giving places that I give to is Touchstone Community School, where my kids went to elementary school, and they just had their auction, and we use the same auction software that Touchstone used, and they had sent me, and I think I had forwarded it to the auction people in our friends group, and they had Touchstone had sent out this, oh, you can donate by pressing here and describing what you're going to donate and stuff like that. So I did donate, and and then I didn't hear from them at all. So I was, I thought, oh, gee, I wonder if that worked or not, and apparently it did. They just had their auction, and somebody won the thing that I had donated, which was another leg of lamb type thing, and wanted to know when they could come and pick it up. So, so that whatever format they used, it was really nice way of getting people to donate, I thought, so, and Justin said that you had sort of indicated that, oh, that's not too hard to do. So just putting that reminder there. But anyway, we're starting our meetings in June sometime, and I don't have the specific date, unless I do. Maybe I do. And it's a virtual meeting, I think. And it is on a Saturday. So it's on the 12th of June at 10 in the morning. And I think it's going to be virtual, but maybe it won't be. Who knows? So if anybody's interested in it, you can email me and tell me, or if you know of other people that might like to serve on it.
Okay.
That's great. That's about it.
Okay. Other old business? New business? Loosening COVID restrictions. And
Back to the Friends real fast.
Okay.
Everyone pray it doesn't rain. I'm stalking the forecast for Saturday, and it's like just a disturbing chance of rain all Saturday morning.
Are you
And
kidding?
Well,
Sunday now,
I'm
too.
dying for a rain.
I know we need
I
rain.
want rain, just not that day.
Yeah.
But Sunday
Our
there's a
pond is
30%
gross.
chance now.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah, like 40% chance Saturday, 30% chance Sunday. So
Oh, well, that's not.
is it an afternoon
Sure.
thunderstorm type thing, or
I don't know.
because
I
maybe
know
it'll
on
be fine in the
Saturday it's like the chance starts out high in the morning and then dwindles throughout the day. So it's like just the worst possible timing.
Oh, that stinks.
All right, have your kids
Plans,
do the rain, the Sundance then.
Damn.
Just do a move the rain to another day dance though.
Well, yeah.
Yes, that's perfect. Yeah.
Sunday's one of my grandson's birthdays. Anyhow, loosening COVID restrictions.
Okay.
And
So
okay, hopefully everybody read Justin's ideas on what he wants to do.
Which changed, right?
And then
it's
the
changed a
update.
bit. So the May 29th is the day that the governor is rescinding like the state's COVID mandates. The state of emergency doesn't end until later. But for all practical purposes, the governor has declared May 29th the end of the pandemic. So if you go on Facebook, you'll see everyone talking about having their mask burning parties and all that jazz. So beginning June 1st, we intend to open the library up to full capacity, to stop having, the limit of 6 patrons at a time, to end the time limit for being in the library, and get the space put back together more or less the same way it was before the pandemic, unless we can find a way to do it better. I would like to make masks encouraged. I would like to make masks required, but we can't do that, I've been informed. Since it's a public building, we would need an order from the Board of Health, or we would need their backing somehow in order to say that you have to wear a mask to be in the library, which we don't have, and they probably won't give. So, I initially wanted to make, it still a mask required environment. But, I've been superseded by the Board of Health and the town administrator. But what they did say is that we can make masks encouraged, and they encourage us to make masks encouraged. The sticking point for me here is that the push to get back to business as usual is contingent on whether you're vaccinated or not. If you're not vaccinated, the same CDC advisories and guidelines still apply. You're supposed to mask up, you're supposed to try to social distance, and you're supposed to avoid unnecessary exposure. Our biggest patron population during the summer is the population that cannot get vaccinated yet. It's kids. They're the ones who come to the library once, the school's out for the term. The summer reading program is traditionally geared around kids. So what I would like to do is just put up an advisory, with the following language: that young children and their families visit the library daily, especially during the summer. Since children 12 and under are not yet eligible to be vaccinated, we highly encourage patrons to continue to wear masks when inside the library, in accordance with the current public health information, CDC guidelines, the Massachusetts updated face covering advisory for K through 12 schools and childcare facilities, effective 5/9/29/21. Because the exceptions to this non-masking rule are childcare facilities, K through 12 schools, and public transit. And the library is kind of in that grouping, in my mind at least.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. And I've been straddling this fence so hard it's been giving me a wedgie, because I really want to get the library welcome, open, moving again. And on the other hand, I've got 3 unvaccinated kids at home, and some staff who are concerned for justifiable reasons.
Right.
So, I think that it makes sense at this point just to rip off the Band-Aid, move adult programming back inside, ask people to wear masks, but don't make them.
Right.
But for children's programming, I think should remain virtual for the time being, at least until vaccination opens up to that age group. That's my preference. That's the children's librarian's preference. And that's kind of in line with what the CDC recommends, even though, the state is taking a hands-off approach at this point.
So, but your staff could wear masks if they so chose.
Yeah, everyone can wear a mask. It's just we can't make them anymore.
Right.
And I think most of the people on my staff want to. Talking to the town nurse, the Board of Health, people at town hall, they're like, "Oh, we're not going to make anyone wear masks, but we're going to."
Yeah.
And it's the patrons we have who don't believe COVID is real are the ones who are most eager to not have to wear masks in the library, which is disturbing. But
I understand that, Justin, and I'm just, I don't know, kind of lamenting that we don't have an adequate outdoor space to do summer reading, because as long as it's not raining, even if it is raining, bring your umbrella and do outdoor reading.
If Joe had planted the trees where the plan said to plant the trees, we would have.
So I don't know. I understand. It's sad, but I understand.
I'm still hoping later in the summer, because we've got $1,000 of cultural council grant money, which we're planning on having the Friends augment so that we're paying half and half. We're doing the story walks, but that still leaves funding for later in the summer. And if things turn a corner, that by the next meeting, I think we'll have a better idea where
Right.
things are going. And, it's not too late to schedule some of our, performers and have them do something
Absolutely.
outside. I can
It
close the
doesn't-
parking lot
even
for a
if it-
day because we didn't used to have one.
Even if it doesn't coincide specifically with the time frame of the summer reading program. I know there's a strict schedule on that. If
Mhm.
it's something outside of that schedule, at least it's something providing something for the community, for people with children. Isn't that what we're about? Providing services and programming and things. So,
We just don't want to infect them all.
well,
Yeah, but you don't also want to infect everybody with the flu. A different
I understand.
ailment, but
It's there's
but I
some-
think everybody has to use their common sense of
I
what
agree.
works best with them. you
Yeah,
know.
I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah, outdoors, I'm not concerned about. Our problem is, like
No,
Danielle
I
said,
know.
outdoor space, because we turned our yard into a parking lot. The trees that were supposed to be planted right along the sidewalk of our neighbor's property instead got planted right in the middle of the yard.
I know. That would have been a nice spot. Well,
Otherwise, we could have had like some stuff out there, but it
Well, you
maybe
can go
when our
past
truck
the
gets out of
trees.
the shop, I can go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then we're right on our neighbor's sidewalk.
yeah, that's not good either.
That was the
idea
whole
of
reason Joe
trees
didn't plant the
give a
trees
buffer
over there,
zone.
is because he didn't want to impinge on their property.
Exactly. Yeah, that's not being good neighbors.
I just would have rather that the trees be there, because then we would have had a nice barrier and we would have had a nice yard next to the,
Yeah,
maybe
that's
we
a decent spot.
look into relocating them or something. I don't know how much it would cost to rip up the
Oh,
trees.
good God. You don't want to know.
Are they still alive? Because they looked
Oh, yeah.
dead about a year ago.
They're
Oh,
trying their best. I was really kind of hoping that they wouldn't make it, but
you know what?
they're clinging to life.
They actually have pretty shallow root balls. What does the highway department need something to do?
I don't think so.
They're always good to help out. Seriously. I don't know. Whatever. Okay. Justin wanted to be done by 5, but he keeps talking. So do we have other new business? Hearing none. Our next meeting is June 22nd, virtual or in person.
Is
what
town hall
time?
going to be open?
Mhm. Town hall will be open at that point.
And do you like this 4 o'clock time?
I love it.
I love it too.
I mean, Dawn, would you be able to? Do you
I
work in an office?
No,
30
I work
miles
at
away?
home normally. I can make it at 4. 5's a little bit better, but 4 is fine. I can make it at 4 and be there. Did you get that? I can do it at 4 in person.
Are we meeting in person next month?
Well, that's what we're asking,
At 4
virtual or
o'clock?
in person.
Do you want to
I
take a
don't
vote? Do you want people
Can we
to vote?
keep doing virtual?
How many people are going to wear masks? That's what I want to know first.
Can we keep it virtual? How long can we go virtual?
I know it's hard to talk with the mask on.
I agree.
I'm actually vaccinated now, so I'm okay with it. But
Yeah,
just as a
I'm
point of principle,
vaccinated, but
I know. We probably all are.
What about Nick? Can he come in at 4 o'clock, or is he doing something?
Nick, are you there still?
Oh, me?
Yeah, you, Nick.
Yeah, sorry. Hold on. I was,
Garden.
yeah.
Walking
What
to
are we
the
talking about?
pigs.
Feeding the chickens.
Yeah, I got distracted by the animals.
For the next meeting, could you be at town hall at 4 o'clock in person? I think is the question.
On Tuesday?
Mhm.
The 22nd.
Yeah, let me put it on my calendar.
Or do you prefer virtual?
Are we able to, that's my question. Can we still do virtual?
Yeah,
I
you
think
can. It's still either one is an option.
All right, I vote, I'm going to say, let's do 4 o'clock virtual. It just works so much
Fine.
easier for people.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll second
That's
that.
fine by me.
Yep. Good.
Yeah, if we were gonna do masks in person, then I'd rather do virtual, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How come Dawn has such a pretty picture up and the rest of us are
You all look like,
naked?
Yeah, I know, but I think I have to restart my computer. The video wouldn't work, so I was like, I might as well I just left a headshot on mine. Oh, speaking of that, I can't figure out
I
why
see your class
when
picture look
scheduling these meetings for the historic commission, they said we needed to each have our own Zoom account, which I can't figure out why.
That's weird.
Yeah,
I don't have a Zoom account.
I know. Well, you're in trouble, Kate. So,
Yeah, I know. I'm probably one of the last left.
but it said that we
I
needed to
think
sign up
I
for a
do.
free account to use it, which didn't make any sense to me because we just get onto the same number. So
Yeah.
the requirement, I don't know.
All right, so not to belabor things, but I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
And you don't
Aye.
even have to stand up when it's virtual.
All right. Thank you all.
Thanks,
I'll
All
have
right,
an email
Justin,
tomorrow.
go visit with your friend.
Have fun.
All right,
Will do.
Bye.
all right. I'll have those tables if you need them. Let me know. And
Okey-doke,
email
will
me
do.
about
I'll
everything.
email you tomorrow, and I'll email everybody tomorrow
Yeah,
with
all right, all right.
numbers, math. and
Okay,
stuff.
cool.
Stop recording.